What's up guys, it's CB Bricks and I am back with another LEGO Star Wars MOC showcase. Today we're going to be taking a look at my latest creation, and it is the Stinger Mantis from Jedi Fallen Order. In the game, the Stinger Mantis is the main ship used by the main character Cal Kestis and the rest of his crew. I actually went ahead and created a custom Cal Kestis figure with the parts I had on hand, as well as a fully custom BD-1 droid. It's kind of interesting, if he's holding a lightsaber, it will actually counterbalance the BD-1 droid, even though it is slightly oversized, and he can stand even on a non-studded surface. The actual ship itself actually measures about 16.75 inches tall, 8.25 inches wide, and 21.5 inches long. It also sports the Smuggler colorway with its iconic dark gray, light gray, as well as dark red, and that's mostly because that is the type of pieces I had on hand, because in these times you can't really get to bricklink and stuff. And I thought that was a really big goal of mine, to actually finish this without a single order from Bricklink or any other part seller. Another goal of mine in this build was to get the major iconic features of the ship recreated in LEGO. And even though this is an extremely large ship compared to the rest of the MOCs I've built, it still was a huge challenge to get these functions in. The most important being the major transformative feature of the top wing. This can actually move in a fairly similar fashion to the actual game, with this large circular middle section, and it can just rotate down like that. It's kind of interesting how the function works itself. There are actually a couple ratchets in there that are fixed sideways, and they allow for that to happen. Now, because of the weight going on in this side, it's very difficult for it to stand up on its own, and it will just kind of flop over. So what I recommend to do is use a stack of clear bricks or something like that, and just put it underneath the wings, and it will stand absolutely perfectly. And this is one of the good looks, and I really recommend it being displayed like this. But of course, the most iconic would be it going straight up. However, I was not able to get the side engine section able to rotate, just for structural reasons, because I could not figure out how to create the middle section stable enough with another rotating component. However, that doesn't really make that much of a difference, because in the actual game, when it lands, this is up, and when it's flying, this is to the side. So it really doesn't make a difference in the long run. The next important function to get correct was the landing gear, and to have it fully functional and work in this scale. So here's what the landing skids look like, and it's this one, and it's pretty much mirrored on the other side, and then we have another landing skid in the front that looks like that. Now I went ahead and flipped the model over to show you guys how the landing gear works. Up here in the front skid, all you have to do is click these like that, since they're on simple ratchets, and fold it up to the body. It's really simple, and it hides away pretty well. Up here we have these more accurate looking landing skids, and they're on these large ratchets. All you have to do is flip up these piston looking elements, which actually fit right into one of the anti-studs down there to keep it in place. Actually add some extra support, and it does that on either side. So you just fold that up, you go down here, you can rotate this all the way in. It's not the most accurate in terms of how the function works, but it does get the job done even in its slow process. So all this does is fold up underneath just like that, and you can mirror the same thing on the other side just like this. So you fold it all the way up, rotate it, and then it just sits right there underneath the wings. It actually hides away pretty nicely. In terms of detail and accuracy, I'm extremely happy with how this build turned out. The overall proportions and size and colors really do match up with how it works. Starting out from the nose, these panels up top with the curvature works out pretty well, all the way back to the rear section with the wings and the detail on the engines and things like that. It all works out really well. I think it has a nice blend between smooth surfaces as well as studded surfaces. It gives it a nice texture. I also use some simple greebling techniques up here on the top, as well as grill pieces which go along everywhere. It's one of my favorite detail pieces that I put on MOCs, and it goes along the back and all the way up the wing. I also threw in just enough dark red to give it some depth, and it's actually how they put in the colors in the actual paint job for the Smuggler. Now coming down to the side profile, you can see that the detail up top continues down through the side, in the sense that there's a lot of studded surfaces as well as smooth surfaces. Down here you can also see there's this section right here, and this is where the door is. And it can come down just like that. It's just attached by a couple of hinges and then goes straight up. It looks pretty good and it's pretty accurate. Of course I put a couple of clear bricks down there just for the ease of this video. They're not usually there and you don't necessarily need them. Now along the side here there is this side engine mounted to the side wing, and I really like the detail on this one and how it turned out. The actual the ring around here is used with one of those it's like octagonal bar pieces, and it just attaches a lot of those clips around. Up front there is some nice grill detailing for the intake area, and there's one of those 4x4 circular ring elements. Now from the rear view you can see the back engines, which have a very nice technique, which is similar to the techniques used over here for the back of this engine over here. And I think it looks really good and accurate. The colors are a little off, but I think it works in the long run. If I keep turning this in a little bit, you can see some of the detailing. I'm just going to pick this up that goes underneath there as well. I think this would also be a good opportunity to show some of the detail here for the wings and the color combinations. One of the problems, however, is that there are anti-studs on the other side, but I think it looks pretty good because I mirrored the color over here, and I don't mind the look too much. This side sports very similar detailing to the other side, except of course there isn't a cutout for the door on this side, and there is not another wing coming out on this side. And it's just cut out. Of course, I think it looks pretty good, it's pretty smooth, and it's consistent. Now coming down to the front, this was one of the most important aspects for me to get correct, and that is this front windshield element. Now, I used a bunch of clear bricks to create the angle there on some hinges. As you can see, this can actually rotate down, even though that's only for just to get the angle, it's not for any real purpose. Now, I don't like the lines that are created there, but I do think it gets the job done and it lets some light into the interior, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. This angle also gives a nice view of the entire shaping of the side panels here and how they work together and how they change in angle from over here to all the way over there, and I think that's a really nice, good side profile. To get into the interior of this build, it helps to have a brick separator on hand, and this entire roof section actually removes. So all I want to do is take off the side plates here and here. Those add some pretty serious structural support to the entire model, and then this entire section lifts up. Now I actually just accidentally took some of that landing gear down. Just going to push that back just like that. There we go. And then this section right here also removes and is attached via some studs as well. And this reveals access to the rear section of the model. Now taking a look at the interior, you can see up in the cockpit section there are actually two pretty cool looking seats, and I actually have Cal sitting over there just to show that they do indeed fit. And there's a couple console units up in the dashboard. There's some controls over there, as well as a seat for any other passenger to sit over there. A lot of this is kind of inaccurate in terms of scaling, just because I could not cram all the details I wanted into this area. So I went ahead and got the map station to show where you want to go, and I put some little symbols of planets, and that's how they'd be displayed on that little table. I have these benches on either side which do not fit figures, but they are there for the aesthetics. There's the botany area, as well as the game table, and again another couch. And continuing over here, you can see that there is actually a lightsaber station back here. This lightsaber station has some tools. It has another lightsaber hilt, as well as some other parts which are used to create your own lightsaber designs in the actual game. Over here there is also a rest station, which I just approximated with a trans blue disc, and there's a table right here with some form of drink on top, and that pretty much completes the interior of this model. Now overall, I'm extremely happy with how this MOC turned out. It took a lot of work over the past 3 weeks to put this thing together, over about 20 to 30 hours of just building and usage of brain power and dexterity just to put this together, and it took a lot more than I expected. So if you would, go ahead and leave a like on this video, it helps out a lot, and if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe. But with that out of the way, guys, I'll see you in the next video.